நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय
मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति.
नमो हरिहन्तानं नमो सेदानं नमो आयर्यानं नमो वजायानं नमो लोये सवसाहुनं एसो पञ्चनमोकारो सर्वपापपनाशनो मङ्गलानं चे सर्वेसिं पडमं हवै मङ्गलम् पडमं हवै मङ्गलम्.
A very good evening to one and all present for today's program. I take immense pleasure in welcoming you all to the Day 4 of Industry Connect and Knowledge Enrichment Program on the theme Powering Progress in Pharma, organized by Shri Shankarlal, Sundarbai, Shasun Jain College for Women in collaboration with Institute of Cost Accountant of India. The topic for today's discussion is Cost Governance in Pharma. Now, I feel immense pleasure in welcoming Mr. CMA TCA Srinivasa Prasad Sir, Council Member, Chairman Member in Industry Committee, Information Technology Committee, the Institute of Cost Accountant of India will give the opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good evening, namaste, vanakkam. So it is the fourth day, and we thank all the speakers and all the resource persons who have attended so far and participated and shared their knowledge. And we have one of our stalwart members, Mr. Ramaskanda. So who will be giving us his insights into the industry, into his industry on the pharma industry on cost governance. And unfortunately, because of the natural issues, we could not hold this on day before yesterday and yesterday. That is why we are shifted today and tomorrow. We hope the members are getting benefited by these kind of industry specific programs. We will be covering more and more programs like this. So from the members in industry committee, we thank all the committee members, our president, vice president, SS Jain College, Laghu, Udyog, Bharati, and most importantly, our own member, CMA Rakesh, who has been tirelessly working and then making this happen with a clock-like precision. Thank you. Over to the organizers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your inputs. Now, I welcome Mr. CMA Rakesh Yadav sir, Vice Chairman of Northern India Regional Council, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, hails from Jaipur and a seasonal professional and an intellectual person to give the keynote address.
Good evening, all of you. Dr. VSV Chezhian sir, State General Secretary, Laghu Udyog Bharati, CMA and Ramaskanda sir, Senior Professor, our Central Council member, Srinivas sir, CMA Rakesh Ravi sir, and all the respected members. I welcome all of you on behalf of Institute of Cost Accountant of India, and I am thankful to Institute for inviting me for this program, Powering Progress in Pharma, Cost Governance in Pharma Sector. And although I am not expert of pharma sector, but on the basis of some general knowledge, I can say pharma sector is one of the prominent sector, not only for the economy of our country, but also for humanity purpose, health purpose, and life-saving purpose. And costing in pharma sector is always a challenge for all of us. As a cost accountant, we have a great scope in pharma sector because farmers, as far as costing of pharma sector is concerned, pharma sector not only incur basic cost like other industry, material, labor, and other expenses. In pharma sector, one of the most important costs is research and development cost. Reason is very clear. Continuous improvement in the medicine is an integral part of the pharma sector. So when we are going to determine cost of the pharma product of the pharma sector, we have to consider basic cost as well as research development cost, and sometimes situational factor are also there. All of you experienced at the time of COVID, and at that time research and development play a great role, and vaccine is developed in a very short period. So it is always challenge for us how to determine cost, which method of costing is used for pharma sector, value-based pricing, cost plus pricing, differential pricing, and sometimes as per situation, skimming pricing. And as a cost accountant, we have a great opportunity to play our role, to assist, to help, to guide pharma sector as a professional. And with these comments, I conclude my remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your inputs in the field of pharma. Now it's time for the technical session on the topic cost governance in pharma. It is my honor to welcome Mr. CMA N. Ramaskanda. He is a practicing cost accountant and a senior partner of Ms. Rao, Murthy and Associates, one of the leading firms of cost accountants based at Bengaluru. He is having an experience of over 30 years in the field of cost management. His area of specialization includes designing, developing, and strategic management of cost profile of product and services, covering various sectors such as manufacturing, services, healthcare, education, IT services, and others. He is a CIMA qualified from the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, UK. He is a FCMA Fellow Member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and a postgraduate in Commerce. He is an Adjunct Professor, Cost Management and ERP at IIPMB. He has received Verified Certificate of Achievement in Hinduism through its scriptures from Harvard X. He was a former chairman of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Bengaluru chapter. Once again, I welcome you, sir, for this knowledge sharing program. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for the nice introduction. CMA Rakesh Yadav, Vice Chairman NIRC, CMA Rakesh Shankar, man behind this program, and CMA TCA Srinivas Prasad, mentor of this program. It is a great privilege for me, and I thank all of them for inviting me for this program to share my experience in pharma industry. Now, managers should ask themselves, do I really know what my product cost? Answer to this question requires a detailed analysis of the company's or firm cost. So with this agenda, I'll start my session. Need for corporate governance, cost governance in pharma industry, manufacturing process flow, material cost, conversion cost, overhead cost, product cost and pricing cost template, cost governance through cloud management, conclusion and takeaways. This is the agenda for next 25 to 30 minutes, which I'm planning to cover. And figures, whatever is indicated here are a notional figures, but we are more focusing on the concept and material facts. The first, need for corporate governance. The need for corporate governance is costs are assigned to the product that are unrelated to the product being produced. Sometimes we are allocating the cost. There are some costs which are allocated which is not related to the product manufacture of that particular product, so that the cost goes up, and based on which if you are fixing the selling price, market will not absorb, and if you fix the market selling price, it will show a loss. So at this juncture, the cost governance is required to analyze what are the factors leading to these activities. Second, omitting costs that are related to the product being produced or to the customer serviced. Sometimes what happens is that we manufacture and service the product and sell to the customer. Some of the costs are omitted while calculating. Then products looks cheaper, selling price too high, and margin is high. So therefore, we think we are making a profit, but actually not in the real case. And third, when the output of the firm include both tangible, that is manufactured, and intangible, that is the service of the products, the cost system may apply only to the tangible products and not to the intangible and service. Because manufacturing, we are more focusing, so all the costs related to manufactured are captured and put in the cost, but service cost may or may not consider. Therefore, product profitability will mislead. And fourth one, assigning inaccurately to the product result in price distortion, and attempting to assign the common or joint cost. These are all the symptoms which require the cost governance. Otherwise, you are seeing that a cost which is complicated, but competitor, you see they are enjoying the profit, but you are not doing the so. And why that difference? This is the system where, or this is the situation in which the cost governance is required. If the situation is not whatever explained, then at that time the cost governance is working well, may not require any alteration which is required. Then symptoms when company needs a good cost governance. Same thing, extension of the previous slide to the little one. The products that are difficult to produce are reported to be profitable, even though they are not premiumly priced. In the manufacturing process or in the services, certain things are required as special attention. So once it requires special attention, special machinery may be used, or special skilled person may be used, special attention is drawn. So with that, cost is increased, and that cost need to be covered by increasing selling price premiumly for that product. If that is not done, then product is not reporting a correct profit. This is a situation where you require the introduction or need for cost governance review, because we are under the impression cost governance is already there, and that is required to be reviewed if this is the situation. And same product is the competitor manufactures, then you feel the prices are very absorbent between them. Product that are sold by the competitors have a high reported margin for the same product, which your report says that it is loss. Like in automobile industry or pharmaceutical industry, this phenomenon happens because the products are similar and common. and vendor bid for parts are considerably lower than expected. You are expecting your products and the bid comes from the customer is on the very low side vendor. So therefore that also indicates that something wrong in the costing system. Then factors that are influencing profit margins which cannot be easily explained to the management are one, high market share. Since you are having a high share, you are having a certain advantage also, certain disadvantage also. And quality differential in markets because of the product differential like a quality differential. Production process difference, manufacturing XY or YZ, and economy of the scale, whether you are working in a small economy, medium or large economy scale of manufacture, that matters the cost. So therefore, these are all the systems in which we require the cost governance. Then what are the three factors which are affecting the change in the costing system itself? Because what we are following is different. One, the first and most important account to me is measurement of cost. Are you able to measure the cost in terms of rate per person, rate per tablet, rate per square feet, like that? The cost need to be measured in terms of the output which you are going to sell. If you are selling in the case of pharma industry, either per tablet or per strip or per packet, whatever it is, that need to be analyzed. Second, level of the competition which you are facing, whether you are facing a local competition, whether a regional competition, national competition, or international competition, that also requires change in the cost accounting system to suit the requirements. And third one, degree of the product mix and diversity. You are manufacturing a single unknown product or you are manufacturing a multi-product, which part of the market you are offering. These three factors will make you to change the costing system because everything need to be measured. If you cannot measure, then you cannot deliver. If you cannot deliver, you cannot realize. If you cannot realize, you cannot make profit. Then now this is the general parameter for any industry. It can be applied, need not be for pharma. Now I am coming specifically for pharma industry as such. Cost governance for pharma manufacturing can significantly help reduce the hidden cost. Like what we are looking is that one example, just an example is that we take the P&L account and take all the costs totaled up and say this is my total cost, is one way of looking at it. Second way, each cost is taken as a cause and effect and identify what is the cost for this cost, where it is going to be affected, whether it is related to the product manufacture, whether it is related to the product not manufacturing. Like that, if you are identifying each items, then there will be some cost which is not being identified by a particular activity or cost or nature. Then that becomes a crucially that we may finally end up in saying that either it is the overhead administration or sometimes part of a selling overhead and push off. Up to the cost of production, we try to identify. After that, it will be allocated based on some basis. So that is all not identified. So on that basis, we are saying that 30% of the cost go undetected. Like if it goes also overhead also it goes, it should be identified for what cause and effect. If cause and effect is not identified, then we call it as undetected. Undetected due to poor business practices and the liability to detect them, inability to detect them. Then improper habits of recording the data can be a major culprit in accumulated hidden cost. If at the voucher level, if you are not identifying the cost and book to the work center, then to the cost center, then to the cost, then it can be easily identified. If you are not booking from the work center to the cost center and directly booking as an expense, then taking to the cost, then that leads to the improper cost management. Then proper cost governance provides a simpler solution, offering insight into the daily cost, cost variance, and profitability analysis for pharmaceutical manufacturing companies. Then, adapting to the change in the market dynamics requires change in the accounting across the pharmaceutical industry. Method of costing, profitability analysis, production variance, and reporting needs to be more sophisticated. Like if I start preparing my cost sheet after the end of the financial accounts and prepare a report and give it to the management, by the time I submit my report, it will be 1.5 years is over because that year also being counted. That report will not be of any useful. It should be online and time based, and it should be before taking a decision, cost to be available. Then it is useful for the management. That is why we are saying that more sophisticated means time-day delivery. Then prime objective is following the standard operating procedure in adhering with FDA compliance reporting rules. Because pharmaceutical industry is more focusing on the FDA compliances which is required. I'm not trying to say no. At the same time, what is the cost of compliance? And in addition to the complaints, whether the product is giving me a margin desired what I am expecting, and what are the costs which can load, which I cannot load, also should be in mind to have a progressive report. In continuous production and batch manufacturing processes, the multitude of activity involved and requires costing for each of the activities. Like this is bringing down to the area of activity based cost management, wherein you drive the activity, and for doing the activity, they require say resources to be consumed. Resource consumption incurs the cost, therefore activity incurs the cost. So if you produce the activity, then automatically reduce the activities, automatically resource consumption will reduce. By resource consumption reduce, cost reduce. We are not trying to say that I cut the activity, because activity is essential. We are trying to say that you manage the activity in such a way that resource consumption is reduced. Like today, if your example in last 3 4 days, if you are looking like Toyota company etc. coming out with a 34 kilometer mileage, 24 kilometer mileage etc. So like that, how the cost is maintained and mileage is expected means because of the operation. Same thing we are expecting across the industry. Don't cut the activity, but do in a different way where the cost is reduced. Then areas of then human capital, area of concern with special reference to Pharma. Human capital, machine, or work center hours need to be planned across the multiple production jobs. Because one way you create a human capital and machine, expecting that the work order will come for over a period of 5 years and 7 years, you will recover it. But order may come or order may double. You may work in 3 shifts, or order may not come. You may work in 1 shift. So work center hours need to be maintained. So the denominator clearly gives you what is the cost incurred. Then 5% high performance of pharmaceutical companies have about 3% of the rework of the product when compared to the average companies that have 8%. In the second session of this series, we have seen what is the difference between a rework and reprocess and cost in pharmaceutical industry was very well explained, and you are aware of it. So I think that continues logic also here. And large amount of the time and resources are spent trying to recover the inefficiency caused by following improper procedure in day-to-day operation. Like one is inefficiency need to be recovered, need to be make efficient, but for doing that, the procedure need to be followed in order so that it gives you a result. And inefficiency may be due to the lack of any properly identified key performance indicators. Like one of the idea is that you reduce a cost, what is the result of that? Cost is reduced, but what is the effect of that? So unless you identify the key performance indicators for each of the activities, then you are reducing in a way where the performance may result positively or negatively, that will affect the company. And cost roll up. In the planning, first you have to plan the size of each batch, because if the size reduces, increases, it affects the cost in the batch manufacturing, which we are aware of it. Then once you decide the size of the batch, what is need to be manufactured, then ERP system automatically should identify what is the standard cost of that product through the system. Once the standard cost is identified, this helps in identifying the right margin and selling price, and so you can fix the selling price based on the standard cost. But one more thing you need to do is that you should compare that with customer quotation and sales order, because customer quotations is different, sales order price is different. When that compared with the right margin and selling price, which is given by a standard cost through the ERP system, then you will have an idea what is the expectation of the customer, what is your marketing department views, and what is the market reply, and what is your actual selling price. Then that gives a picture of where the company stands. Result of that is margin. So selling price and margin is one effect which may be given by account department, we can say, but market department may say it is not possible, but customer quotation may indicate a different figure. So all the three to be compared, the quotation, sale order, and the selling price finally. So then you will have a clear idea about what is the market expectation. That can be taken as a future business matrix. As a production, jobs are related to the production floor. Operators allocate all appropriate raw material for the consumption. The standard cost roll-up for the manufacturing product is made up of direct material, labor, overhead, and indirect cost. There is a cost roll-up which is coming into the system. Now, which we will go to our standard cost roll-up, which is applied for any of the industry as such. Like we say that direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses constitute the prime cost. Indirect material, consumables, and tools, and indirect labor, that is service department and supervisors, indirect expenses together constitutes the manufacturing overheads. Manufacturing overhead and prime constitute the factory cost. So typically whatever the expenses incurred inside the factory totally will get absorbed as a factory cost. That can also be called as cost of production. And then factory administration overhead, selling overhead, and interest plus factory cost will constitute the total cost. With a margin, it comes to the selling price. It's the basic of costing product cost flow in any of the industry as such. Now we will come to the pharmaceutical industry as such to understand this flow, how it is applied in the pharma industry. Now this is the process flow of a tablet. So start with the feeder, then all the process will start. The main process will be blender, granulator, roller, compactor, dryer, tablet plus coater, dissolution. So once you understand this process, I will go as a cost accountant. We should visit the factory and see the process, which is the minimum requirement. Once you understand the problem, the process flow, the one of the proverb is there: identify the material, follow the movement of the material. Wherever the material goes, that it add the value of the activity and goes on till it becomes finished goods. So previously it was raw material. Once the one process is over, it is raw material plus cost of that process. Like that, it added. Finally, it becomes cost of production. Then you add other product, then it becomes cost of sales. So process flow is very important for any of the industry to understand the costing system. To put it in a simpler word, feeder, blender, granulator, roller, miller, tablet press, dryer, and coater. So once you look at this, automatically your mind will tell you, I should know what is the cost of feeder, I should know what is the cost of blender. Now, so each process becomes a cost center, and that driven by an activity, then arrive the activity cost. If I say what is the manpower cost of the industry as a whole, then you will not be happy because you would like to know each of the activity which involves the cost. So that is where the activity-based cost management is driven with this concept of each of the activity drives the cost. Then this is the material cost summary, which is coming, which is taken through the bill of material. Previously it was manual, now it has become automated, and even simple ERP system or in Tally also, we can draw the material cost through the bill of material. It requires the element like product code, product description, then batch size and yield. And then you require all the elements which are required for manufacturing of each of the product per batch. Then quantity is indicated, rate per unit is indicated, then the amount is indicated. So this total amount of 119267 which has been indicated, which becomes the cost of bill of material. It just to give an idea, the figures have been given. So I'm not watching the figure as such, but this is the way it represents as such in the industries and generate. So by this you know what is the material cost. Material cost once arrived as per BOM, then material related cost will come from the financials. Like what is the cost of storing that material? It is only related to the raw material. Then inward logistical cost, that is the transportation expenses or the insurance which is related to the raw material. Then other cost, if any, then adding all together, it becomes the total cost of material. So now, when you are planning for export and other activities or a collaboration with the foreign countries, etc., they look for the figures to come from system and not through Excel. Excel figures will not be accepted and it should come from system. That is why I go to the previous slide and they can indicate that this result, whatever is there, this is standard coming from the system. So the quantities coming from the engineering department and design department, where they specify what is the quantity required for manufacturing a batch, and the rate is coming from standard rate, either the purchase price or average purchase price from the finance department, and these two multiplication, the amount is a result of that. And this description and quantity and code number is coming from the departments, respective department. This is a collusion of figures from 4 or 5 departments. So since it is system generated, the people will accept this figure, because I cannot manually intervene any of the figure changes here. If this has been done by Excel, then I can change this result of 100 to 200 and make the variation. So once the system driven, figures are generally accepted as authenticated. Then all other costs we generally forget is storage cost, inward logistics cost, others which are related to the material, which may amount sometime to 3% to 5% of the material cost. So total cost of the material, if you don't take this into account, it will be less by 5%, which may finally unknowingly going as overhead. So this need to be identified is one of the activity. Then what is conversion cost? When should we use the machine hour rate is the first question. When the process is driven by machines, then we should do MHR. Then when we should use labor hour rate? When the process is driven by labor. Then absorption of the cost to the products. The rate calculated from machine hour rate or labor hour rate should be multiplied by the cycle time or process time, then we will absorb the cost. So denominator will be machine hour, numerator will be what is the amount spent for converting that activity of raw material into work in process into finished goods with that particular cost center. Then that becomes the conversion cost numerator, denominator machine hour, the resultant will be the machine hour rate. Then the process cost, we have the conversion cost, cost center 1, cost center 2, and cost center 3 for an example. Then each cost center has a work center 1, 2, like 3, etc. The work center is where number of the similar machines are working. Cost center is area where the cost of all these work center will be added. Because machine may be a group of machine, or you mean the batch costing, you may have a set of machines which may call it as work center, and that each set of machine together we may call it as a cost center. Then conversion cost. One of the approach of the conversion cost, we call it as the ABC approach, is that the process activities resulted in a one-way feeder, blender, etc. And financial expenses which are there as a cost, we said utilities, that is nothing but power, water, diesel, etc. Then direct expenses, employee cost, direct expenses. Direct expenses includes the job work charges which are giving on the job work basis. Then consumable stores and spares, repairs and maintenance, quality control, R&D, technical know-how, depreciation, other production overhead. If you look at this may look like a financial head of the heading, and financial heading will be identified in the P&L account at the total level, but we want these to be identified for each of the process or the cost center. For pharmaceutical industry, I feel that feeder is a cost center, dryer is a cost center. So I would like to know what are the expenses incurred in all these headings related to a particular activity feeder. Then I know the total cost incurred for feeder, and that I divide by number of the machine hours which is run. I work out the machine hour cost. So this is one of the requirements. This needs expenses being identified to each of the activity. In each of the activity, I know what is the cost incurred for each of the headings. So this approach leads to that 30% which is unallocated expenses will become identified if you approach like this. Then this is a template related to the machine hour rate and labor hour rate calculation, wherein the numerator, if you see the top heading which is the numerator, that leads to the general information like a machine service code, machine make, operators, operations carried, date of purchase, purchase or capitalized value, estimated life, depreciation, whether straight line method or written down method, then quantitative information, available hours, efficiency factor, Because if your 100 hours is available, you cannot work as 100% efficiency. So you have to give some parameter. Generally, 85 to 95% efficiency is considered. In labor hour rate, labor efficiency is considered 85%. In machine, it may be considered 90 to 95%. So the variation will be there. Then practical hours, what actually practical hours you work, your budget may be different, actual may be different. Then percentage of capacity utilization. The capacity utilization is one of the foremost important in today's concern, because you are thinking 5 years plan and developing the fixed cost in such a way that your plan is achieved. But in the few years, in the initial stages, you are not able to achieve the full capacity. That idle capacity cost need to be removed from the cost. That will become a reconciliation item, because our inefficiency in the manufacturing need not be loaded to the product which is sold to the customer. So because of that reason, the inefficiency cost, the idle capacity cost will go as a reconciliation item. As over a period of time, you increase the capacity utilization, this idle capacity cost will come down. Then cost information like a variable cost and the fixed cost can be identified: power and fuel, tools, consumables, lubrication, repairs machinery, repairs building and other variable cost, and direct expenses, salaries and wages, supervisor cost, depreciation on plant and machinery and building, insurance, and other fixed cost. This will become variable plus fixed cost. This is the total amount for machine hour, that divided by the numerator number of the hours machine run will give the machine hour rate. Similar to the labor hour also indicated, which gives the result of labor hour rate. There is a standard template made that can be reused for any type of the industries which you are in. Then come to the last point, overheads. Overheads, production support overhead by the support activities which are done. Then administrative overhead, generally general will be distributed based on the sales value, and others will be distributed on the policy of the corporate policy of the company. Then service, so selling or sales support services, direct, which identify the product. Like if you are making advertisement for a particular product or particular medicine, if you are making advertisement, that will go to that particular product, not to the others. Then which is a common, it will done by a sales. Otherwise, you have a your standard cost accounting policy or corporate policy will determine the allocation of overheads. Then further, the overheads are distributed based on the cost to the cost center, and allocate the cost incurred in the cost center to the products, cost to the cost center first, then cost center to the product, then based on the nature of the cost, it will be allocated method. One is in the case of the rent, it can be based on square feet or machinery area occupied, and based on the cycle time or based on the value. This depends upon each of the activities which you are doing and the nature of the activity. Then this is the final important thing. The product cost, the template is prepared not only with respect to the product cost, it also been extended to the pricing template, because our product cost what we determine should help in fixing the selling price. So therefore it is not only a cost statement, this is also a pricing template which has been extended till pricing. Then general information, the product code, product description, then CTA code, quantity information, unit of measurement, maybe it can be in numbers or it can be in kgs or it can be in packets, and master batch size, number of batches, production and yield. Then when come to the description, it is material related, which comes from bill of material, and material related expenses will come as a percentage of material. Then conversion cost, each of the processes which I have indicated in the previous slides. For that, machine hour is calculated, and that is indicated as the machine hour. Then rate per machine hour is indicated, multiplied by rate by machine hour, then you will get the amount. And amount divided by quantity of the batch or output will give you the per unit cost. So one is, I'll repeat, one is machine hour. Machine hour is detailed in the previous slides, and machine hour rate is also decided in the previous slide. That rate multiplied by the quantity, you will get the amount, and the amount divided by the numerator, which is the batch output, then you will get per unit. Again, this per unit will be based on the unit of measurement, whether it can be kgs, it can be units, it can be packets, it can be bulk. Then after that, this is the cost of production, and this is the cost of production. At this cost, you are valuing your inventories also. The finished goods will be valued based on the cost of production. At this rate can be taken for inventory valuation. And then overheads, administrative, selling and finance cost. This can be taken as a percentage of material. Why I have taken a percentage of material is we are trying to go to the pricing template. So in the pricing template, when you are making to determine the selling price, all these expenses will not be available. So based on the previous year and budgeted expenses, work out the percentage based on the material, then it has been put. Then like some escalation factor to so some cost may be considered, may not be considered. To have a safeguard, some 5% is indicated. Then mark up your profit. Generally the pharmaceutical industry will have a minimum net profit of around 20 to 25%. With that reason it has been taken at 25%. Then negotiation factor of 10% is added, because generally when you go for a marketing or negotiation in our individual life also and industry life also, we say any reduction in the price. So therefore, if it gives, we are also happy. In industry, same thing will happen. Therefore, the price is little higher, so the 10% discount you can offer, we will be happy. But we are covering the full cost. So this is the pricing template come product cost, which will be the helpful for this is derived by system generated figures. So no, questions will not be there more once it is system generated. Then cost governance. Now Mr. TCA process is there. If I don't talk about cloud, he will answer my question. Any doubts on cloud, you can ask Mr. TCA Prasad. On ground realities, I will talk. Okay, shift on premises cost management to the cloud cost management, because this is the order of the day today. Nothing is working on the premise cost, but everything is working on the cloud cost. The continuous analysis and reports spent by cost center drive accountability against the budgets and find opportunities to optimize the cloud spend, because this is the order of the today, and this need to be kept into account, because even including our smallest like ERP tile etc., everything is driven to the cloud, and you sit anywhere in the world and try to operate and getting the data and dump it there. So one side data is available, so you can work on. You need to carry the data wherever you go. One is visibility of your cloud cost, visibility and accountability of the cloud cost drivers. Like what we have explained, the activity-based costing depending on the cost center, work center, that remains same. Only thing is information getting is slightly different from one source to the cloud source. Then optimize your cloud cost, managing plans to use optimize capability and opportunities, and govern spending. Alternative stakeholders when the cost centers are forecasted to the extent predefined budget, because stakeholders also be aware what is the cost center cost, then it will be much better. They're aware who is the stakeholder, who needs this information, that need to be decided. Not all the stakeholders may not require all the information. Build a culture of financial accountability, align the closed data to the strategic business metrics. So then it will be easier for the business. Then cloud infrastructure cost management includes predictability, that is nothing but your budget, etc. Control, which once again comes as internal control and external control, controllable cost, non-controllable cost, internally controllable, externally controllable. Then visibility of the cost throughout the system, optimization of the economies of the scale, and extensibility to the pricing of the product so that it helps. Finally, it is you cannot control the cost if you cannot measure it. So measurement of the cost is very important. Unless you measure the cost, you cannot control the cost in absolute terms. Conclusion: distorted knowledge of product cost makes it difficult for management to know how best to employ the resource available. The resources are available. With the good cost governance, you are able to know how to allocate or distribute the resources. No business decision depends solely on the product cost. Product cost information continuously used in decision that rely on a wide range of information. By cost, I cannot make the profit. The costing information is one of the vital information, and other information also industry is also required to make the industry growing. Then symptoms are not always easy to detect, and the inability to detect them does not guarantee the firm is not suffering. Like man may look very well, and suddenly we say that he has got a heart attack. So symptoms are not sometimes able to know costing systems. So, and that does not mean that the company is not suffering from lack of information that need to be done. That is where our auditing will help into the picture. We give the audit report, etc. Our job is to identify the areas of weakness, not finding out the cost 3 rupees, 5 rupees lesser, etc. Once we identify the area of weakness or areas of the costing systems or symptoms which visualizes that there is a weakness in the system, that helps the company. That is what the objective of our cost audit. When we give the cost audit report, this is one of our objective to identify which symptoms which is not really detectable by the insider of the firms. The level of distortion depends on production process, range of the product and distribution channel used. Finally, with the proper cost governance, it is possible to streamline operations and reduce or eliminate unpredictable variances. With this, I thank you all for hearing. I think I have closed within the 30 minutes of time slot which has been allotted. Thank you all. Over to the organizers.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It was a lovely presentation. We were taken away with the cost sheets and the, utilization and machinery rate calculations. Literally, we felt, being in a very in a classroom. So the formats were, mind-blogging. So there are few questions. Mr. Dilip Batrija has raised a question. Please share any case history where you have given suggestions to the company for cost saving.
There are many are there, because out of the last 35 years practice, we have given a suggestion to various industries, not only pharmaceutical, engineering, automobile, education, hospital. So I cannot tell you what you are expecting a question, because particular thing I can say yes. First question is yes, we are given, by that company has made a profit. One suggestion is that, especially in now aerospace technology, etc., we have given a suggestion to identify there are material costs which are not being used properly. By that, their material cost has come down by 10%, by which they have gained the profit of 30%. And resource utilization and capacity utilization, we have given the suggestion to the various companies. With that, their profitability has improved. These two areas, and plus inventory management and inventory valuation.
Thank you, sir. We have been receiving a lot of questions in the previous sessions regarding the cost. So we just reserved it for your session. So people have raised a query on the pricing of generic medicines. Like, what makes the difference between the other medicines and the generic medicines, which are very priced at a very low level? What is the basic level of difference in the cost?
The basic level is, one is the main cost is the patent cost, because the medicines are patented and these prescriptions are made based on the brand of the medicine. It is not a general nature of the prescriptions is not given by the hospitals, doctors. So because of that, patented medicine costs are high. And second, the capacity utilization is very less, because that also adds the cost to the further. And third, since patient no particular opportunity, like a monopoly, you can make the prices and you can dictate the terms. If it comes to the perfect competition, then automatically your prices will come down. Now, because of the various schemes which have been done by Modi government, the prices are slashing, and general medicine prices, the corporate prices will come down to the general medicine prices. More it is open to the competitive environment.
Thank you, sir. Mr. B.K. Unhelgar has raised a question. As you said, major cost factor in Pharma is research cost, governance of which seems to be beyond control of the company. Your thoughts thereon, please.
No, it is not like that actually. The research cost need to be monitored. Like what happens is that whatever I incur for the research cost, if it is blind, the cost, any amount of the cost I will put under research and R&D carpet and I sleep on, that is not the answer. Everything should have activity and result, cause and effect, what we call in the costing concept. What is the cause of research? And as we given the result of that, if the result is given within timeline, then it is a successful project. If the result is gone, not given, then how far long I can continue the R&D activity? Like to give, if you're in academic line, to give like you're doing your PhD, you have to complete, supposed to complete in 3 years. You take 8 years to complete the same PhD, the result will not be useful. If it academic is like that, then you figure out in the medicine, pharmacy, if the result is not achieved within the stipulated time, within the stipulated expenditure, that need to be cut out because efficiency factor counts. I don't accept the concept of putting expenditure and R&D and tripping over it.
Thank you, sir, for your lucid explanation. We have another question from Mr. M. Tanusubramani. How in pharmaceutical industry discounts ranging from 15 to 30% are so offered when there are a lot of risk through the expiry of medicines? Maybe sir is highlighting here, can the expired medicines be sold at a discount by doing some manipulation on the expiry date or so? So I think he's raising a point on that. What is your thoughts?
My thought is that expired medicine cannot be sold and expired medicine cannot be repackaged or done. That is not possible generally. So it is not the case in everywhere. And expired discount is the medicine, whoever is offering at a discount, you should see the expiry date and you should reject it. And they cannot offer a discount on the expired medicine first. And general pharmaceutical medicine is offering a discount. That is because I told you it is a monopoly situation, some of the drugs. Because it is a monopoly situation, they fix a higher price and offer a discount and give it. Like it is one of the marketing technique being used, nothing else.
Thank you,
like
sir.
You go to the various industries for a marketing. You purchase. You intend to go to a mall and purchase one product, but finally you end up coming out with purchasing 15 products. That is one of the marketing techniques. But medicine cannot be compared like that because general who is not having a disease cannot purchase a medicine and eat it. But the offering a discount is one of the pattern of market.
Yes, sir. Next is again from Mr. B.K. Unhelkar. I was told that patent cost is sixfold as filing has to be done 6 times to get approval in US, and that's why cost of non-generic medicine is said to be much more higher. Is it correct?
Yeah, which I told you that patent, because the patent rate, the costs are high. Once that is decontrolled or re-regulated, now you can see the prices are coming down. Even I have seen in some of the packets where the expiry has not happened, they have put a sticker and reduced the price of the product by 50%. Personal expense with the medicine which I use it, the cost has come down by 50%. They put a sticker on the price indicating the price is reduced. This is because of the patent control act.
May I come in, please?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
May I come in, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I subscribe to what Ramaskanda sir is speaking, because we have seen one of the class medicines, Jonumet, 50 by 1,100, which is the combination drug of sitagliptin 50 and metformin 100,000. Once it has come out of the patent right, many companies have come into the fold, and then it became a perfect competition. And even that company which was selling Jonumet in the brand name of Jonumet, they have come down the prices with the stickers and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there was a question on how to
over
treat...
to Rakesh for...
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, there was a question on how to treat the technology and operations cost. Like, for example, automation of production process, there is a heavy capital investment which goes in the industry. So how to treat that in the cost sheet? So it was a very generic question which was raised.
So generally, whatever the cost we incur on technology, that need to be spread over for a period where the technology is basically used. So if the technology used for next 10 years, that will be spread over a period of 10 years. And within 10 years, you are trying to recover the cost based on the volume which you do in 10 years. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Mr. Tanu Subramani has come back. He said, what I meant is how in the backdrop of cost of expired medicines, which is an unpredictable risk, discounts are offered. and not reuse of expired medicine, just for clarification. So he has
No,
explained
I
his
have not come
question.
across. No, I have not come across the myself with the unexpired medicine being sold in the market. So I will not be able to say anything on that. But it can,
Yes.
if you are able to purchase that, be careful that you don't purchase a unexpired medicine. That I can say. The discounts are offered for even the good medicine also. Like if you purchase a monthly bill is 5,000 and above, they offer a 10% discount. Because what happens is that now pharmacy labs are created every now in a road you may have a two pharmacy shops. So each one has to do his business. So therefore they have their own techniques of offering a particular discount to a particular customer because he is having a monthly revenue from them. Like if a patient is a diabetic and he is purchasing monthly medicine, he is assured of so much of revenue, he may offer a special discount. Or some of the direct shops may offer a discount. That is for good medicine, not for expiry medicine.
Because selling an expired medicine is an offense.
Expiry
MedPlus,
medicine, if you are selling, you can put.
Rakesh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. You please continue, sir. Then I'll.
Yes.
No sale of expired medicine will not happen if you come across, put him behind bars. That's all. The reason is no question of discount or anything. And pharmacy offering, that is his mischievousness.
Sir, there is an interesting question again. What are the available
Rakesh,
ERP
can I?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Rakesh, 1 minute. Yeah, see, there is a chain of pharmacy called MedPlus throughout India. They offer 20% discount for if you buy more than 1,000 rupees from their pharmacy, as Ramaskanda sir is telling. So there are different business models available in many of the pharmacies. So some pharmacies give 10%, some pharmacies give 20% beyond 1,000 rupees and all. So this.
Sir, there is an interesting question. What are the available ERP systems for cost accounting on real-time basis?
Sir, one thing I can tell you, the ERP system or SAP system will offer a financial and it depends upon the what package they purchase. Because package means modules. If they purchase a marketing module, then costing cannot be generated. If they purchase a financial module, costing cannot be done. If they purchase a raw material module or HR module, if you collect everything and then you purchase a costing module, then cost accounting will help you. Just like taking I'm an ERP, I'm under SAP, etc. Then you have to have question ask that which module of SAP you have purchased. Are you coordinated the costing module of SAP? If you have done costing module of SAP, then it is good. But just hearing that we have implemented SAP will not answer my question. Am I clear? Unless you purchase all the modules and coordinate, then only cost module will result. Since your marketing need, you purchase only the marketing module.
Can I?
Please.
Yeah, I will add to the points what sir is telling. See, the costing is the culmination of all the activities of the organization, right from procurement, production, maintenance, and issues, receipts, finance, HR. So if we don't take all tools together, then a costing alone is not going to work. If people are looking at costing module, only finance module will not help, only materials module help, because the input has to come from all the modules, including production, what is the maintenance cost, and what is the procure cost, all those things put together, the costing module.
Yes, sir. There is a question. Can we say that the regulatory cost is main reason for high cost of medicines, which deprives a common man to afford needed medicines? If so, why the government take steps in reducing regulatory cost?
Well, my doubt is that government is regulating the prices of the product, not the cost of the product, if I am right. My understanding. The government in the pharmaceutical industry comes in regulating the, they say that you cannot sell the product above this price. They don't say that what is your cost and regulate your cost. So if I am right on that part, then government is regulating the prices and new government Jan Dhan and all the schemes have come wherein the medicine cost has come down a lot. So it is a regulatory mode on the selling price, not on the cost price.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your.
And one of the cost, one of the cost management activity, I can say that cost audit has been introduced only because of that to the pharmaceutical industry.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, you are correct, sir. Sir, thank you so much for answering all the questions in a very patient manner. So your experience, got reflected in the presentation as well as in the Q&A session. So now over to Shruti ma'am for the concluding remarks and vote of thanks.
I thank all of you for your patience hearing and opportunity given. Thank you.
It was a pleasure, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the valuable session. It is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for the day 4 session on the topic Cost Governance in Pharma. First of all, I thank the President, Vice President, CMA Council Member, Shri Srinivasa Prasad sir, and Mr. CMA Rakesh Shankar Ravi Shankar sir, and I also thank the guest speakers of today's session. I extend my gratitude to the management, principal, Vice Principal, and staffs of Shri Shankarlal Sundarbai Shasun Jain College for Women for collaborating with ICMAI to organize the 5-day Industry Connect and Knowledge Enrichment program. My sincere thanks to all the participants, and I request you all to fill in the feedback link and join for tomorrow's session at 7 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you for your patience listening. So in spite of weather conditions, we are back today on the day 4. Tomorrow we have a session on the best practices in the pharma industry, and the concluding validatory session. We have CMA Sukrut Mehta, who is going to talk from Indore. So please stay tuned with us for the wonderful lecture. So I thank Rakesh Yadav sir for being with us in spite of his busy schedule and other disturbances in his state, and he has been with us for the entire hour. Thank you so much, sir. CMA in Ramaskanda sir is always busy and a seasoned professional. So he readily accepted our rescheduled invitation within a very short span of time. Thank you so much, sir. And my heartful thanks goes to CMA TCS Srinivasa Prasad, who is a pillar of support, and to the members in the IT committee, and to the IT team in the headquarters of the institute for their unstinted support. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you, Ramaskanda, Yadavji. Thank you very much. And the organizers.
Thank you all.